A new study just landed that changes how we should think about meditation. Researchers conducted an intensive 7-day mindfulness intervention program, not on lifelong practitioners, not on monks, on ordinary people like you and me. And what they found, I think, will really surprise you. They looked at brain efficiency, immune signaling, and also changes in your body's natural pain relief chemistry. An important point in this study is that meditation doesn't have to be a lifestyle commitment. It can be a sort of brain intervention. And this is something we teach in Zen Brain Academy, which is the concept to train the brain. You can train the brain for anything. And oftentimes we think that the results are going to take months or years. And in fact, what we've shown is that a practice could shift you within 5 minutes. Or in the case of this study, a deeper effect could happen within just a mere 7 days. So if you give me a few minutes, I'm going to show you what changed after this study in these ordinary people, why it matters to you, and how you can run the same protocol starting today. Run it on yourself. You're the scientist. You use your body as your own laboratory. So let's break it down. And as usual, if you find value in this video, please give it a like and share with somebody you think may benefit. Give us a follow, subscribe. It helps us to reach more people with very important information that is critical for the digital age. So we have so many habits nowadays that are negatively impacting our brain. Remember, when the brain goes, so does everything else. The brain health is the secret to longevity. So what I want to gift you is the ability to not necessarily just do more. A lot of people focus on productivity, is to be able to do it in a sustainable way, more efficient way, in a way that you get more done in less time, leveraging technology in your favor, but doing it in a way that preserves your health, your well-being, doesn't ramp up stress, doesn't impact your sleep. And in the digital age, we have just changed the way we live. It's an unnatural way. In this study, what they showed is that 7 days of meditation rewired the brain, not 7 years, not a lifetime. And that's an important point. That's all it took to produce measurable impacts across various physiological measures. So what they did was they recruited ordinary people. Again, not a monk, not lifelong practitioners. They ran that 7-day intensive mindfulness, mind-body intervention. And I've talked about in other videos how mindfulness, meditation are skills that you want. You want to train your brain regularly, every day, to enhance your focus, your well-being, your power, your sleep, etc. And they measured brain changes that we're going to look at now, immune and pain system markers before and after. And what they found were measurable, statistically significant changes within just 1 week. So the first change was brain efficiency, better signal to noise ratio. The cognitive networks, for example, the prefrontal cortex was enhanced because mindfulness meditation is a training of the prefrontal cortex, that area of the brain behind your frontal lobe, the area of the brain that makes you human, that allows you to do work in the now, to bring in information from the past and to use it in the present moment, to be able to lock in, to get into the flow state, to regulate your emotions, so on and so forth, your impulses. If this area of the brain doesn't work well, it leads to a number of problems: attention deficit, mental health problems, and even psychopathology. Teenagers don't use this brain well. It's one of the reasons why they struggle with impulse control, with their emotions and other things. Their neurochemistry is changing very quickly. Mindfulness is able to teach you how to harness that. Immune system, there's a variety of other techniques, not just the one used in this study, that can lead to a boost in your immune system. For example, boosting T cell counts, the cells that are going to identify your virally infected cells and kill them so that you don't get as sick, for example, or sick at all. One cell gets infected, or two or three, before they lyse and release more virus to infect more cells, your immune system can go and kill that cell, containing the spread of the virus in a sense. It can also identify cancer cells, which we get in our body all the time because we live in an increasingly toxic world. Lastly, pain relief chemistry. And of course, there's probably other changes that were not measured in the study, other chemical hormonal changes. I've talked about in other videos, for example, that The key to having the ideal chemistry, the feel good chemistry, is doing things that are good for you. And our body has this positive feedback loop that is designed to teach us what we are doing right and what we're doing wrong. And when we do something that's good, it's going to feel good. It's going to change our chemistry. We're going to feel more energized, more calm. People that end up embodying this principle of feeling good, of looking good. It's not by chance that this happened. It's not genetic. They're doing things, and the body is then producing a feedback chemical change that is going to impact their genes, their physiology, their skin, their hormones, blah, 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 all sorts of different things. Feel good chemistry is cultivated. And mindfulness and meditation is something that I would recommend that you cultivate beginning today. Start training yourself over the short term and build. Remember, we want to reframe this, however. You don't need to say, I need to meditate every day forever. That's discouraging. It's abstract what you're getting or the end point. It's very easy to abandon. And it's also very easy to abandon because we have trained our brain for the exact opposite of what meditation or mindfulness are training you to do. And therefore, when I sit, I'm unable to do it in my head. I'm struggling with my thoughts. My mind goes this way or that way. I feel irritated. I want to move. My back hurts, whatever it may be. And all of a sudden, I quit after just a week or two. And then I just say, you know what? Meditation isn't for me. I give up. Whereas if you take the intervention framing, you run it as a 7 day protocol, almost as an experiment. You know what? I'm going to run this experiment. I'm going to assess where I am now, and I'm going to try this 7 day protocol, and I'm going to see where I am in 7 days. That's specific, it's finite, it's measurable. You're going to treat meditation, mindfulness, as an intervention with a specific, measurable outcome, an end state. And that really tells you, like, even if you're struggling, you can be like, you know what, I'm going to keep going for a few more days. I only have 3 more days to go, and let me see how I feel then. And one of the things that I've said before is when I started meditation many years ago, I remember 10 minutes felt like an hour. I had a little timer thing, and I would like gaze at it every so often. I'd be sitting there and I look, close my eyes again, sit and look again after a little while. And I was just really wrestling. I couldn't get myself to focus. Like many people that may be watching this video, I struggle with attention deficit. I didn't grow up in the digital age, but I grew up in an era where there were video games and my parents didn't kind of enforce that. And I struggled with attention deficit at a young age, and I had to train my brain to be able to be more focused. I would go to talks at Yale School of Medicine or somewhere else, a talk that I was really interested in, and I would sit there and I would listen to the person. All of a sudden, my mind would be gone. And also, I'd come back to the present and be like, oh crap, 5, 10 minutes had gone by and I had just missed this good chunk of the talk. I had no control over my brain. And can you imagine if you don't have control over your brain, what or who is controlling it? More than likely, the AI powered algorithms of the devices that you're using right now. So, what I want you to do is to safeguard that, to not give up so easily, and to train the brain to perfect it over time. And you can become a more powerful, more optimized version that can just dominate in the digital age, in this AI powered digital age. One of the things that people get wrong about meditation is a couple of things. They expect calmness to be immediate. They sit and they all of a sudden they start to get bored because they've gotten their brain trained to idle activity, to video games, to constant stimuli, to social media streams, etc. And the mind is so agitated that when you try to get it to calm, to get centered, to get focused, it can't. And we end up giving up after a few sessions. If you sit for 5 minutes once a week, how can you expect to get any result? Nothing is really going to change if I'm inconsistent, if I just do something for a few minutes here or there. We're talking about a lifetime that you have of habits. How can you expect that lifetime of habits to be overcome by a few minutes a week or a day even? They confuse also clearing the mind with the actual goal, which is training of attention. The mind doesn't need to be clear. The mind is a vessel, it's space, it's emptiness. And it's designed to receive, to be a receiver like an antenna. Things are going to come and things are going to go like clouds. Our job is to take whatever comes in, acknowledge it, and then let it go and go back to whatever I'm trying to focus on. Let's say my breath. Or maybe I put a candle in front of me. I'm gazing at the candle and I want to focus on the candle without getting distracted. Whatever you're using as your focal point, remember you're training your attention. And lastly, meditation, they treat it as something optional. And in the digital age, this meditation has never been optional, but I think more than ever before, it is critical that we take it seriously as a nervous system intervention because our nervous system is being done away with by AI powered algorithms, by our habits, our routines. We're overdoing it. And in my opinion, I've stated this before based on a number of data points over the course of over 2 decades of research from my time at Yale and beyond, that in with the rise of technology, I predicted over 2 decades ago, we would see an increase in attention deficit and autism spectrum. It's exactly what we've seen because of the way we're interacting socially and also interacting neurologically through our senses with devices that is not something that our brain is used to. And I also predict now, I've been predicting this recently as I've been doing more research in Alzheimer's disease. I was the first scientist to show a connection between stress and Alzheimer's disease. Chronic stress over a lifetime, how we were overdoing it was opening the door to cognitive deficits and eventually dementia or Alzheimer's. I predict that early millennials, Gen Z, and Gen Alpha, we will see possibly even a catastrophic rise in early onset dementia, a lot of cognitive deficits, a lot of mental health problems, brain problems. We're already seeing that in the mental health space. We're so disconnected and we're struggling a lot that I think that that's something that's coming. So, what can we do? How can we implement meditation, mindfulness? Day 1 or 2, I want you to establish a baseline. You do 10 minutes of seated breath awareness in the morning before your phone. I've talked about the dangers of grabbing the phone immediately when you wake up, when your brain is highly suggestionable. It's going to be impacted more by the algorithms and whatever you're going to be seeing on an email, a problem at work, or whatever it may be. Take a break. Do a practice before you do anything digital. Inhale for 4 seconds, exhale for six, focus on the breath. Very simple. If your mind gets distracted, you're restless, that's your baseline. Don't fight it, acknowledge it. When your mind gets pulled, bring it back to the breath. Then days 3 and 5, I want you to deepen the intervention. Increase it to 15 minutes instead of 10. Same breath ratio, 4 to 6. Maybe you add another practice in the middle of the day. Maybe another one on day 5. Maybe on day 3 you extend 15 minutes. On day 4 you are doing 15 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in midday, maybe before lunch. And then in the evening on day 5, add a body scan. Sit on your by the side of your bed or on your bed and just kind of disconnect. Maybe get some noise canceling headphones, just lie there and do a body scan. Or get a guided yoga nidra that can guide you through a body scan and do that instead. Days 3 and 5 are going to set the stage where the nervous system is going to start to recognize a pattern. And it's going to start to notice, oh, I like this. And it's going to start to make some changes slowly. But if you give up, you won't see the fruits of your labor. Then on days 6 and 7, you lock in the change. You're built up to 20 minutes in the morning, the 10 minutes in the evening. Maybe now you've added not 5 minutes, but maybe 10-minute break, whether it's a mindfulness meditation, breath work, or maybe a walk-in meditation. You go outside for 10 minutes. So you see how you're slowly starting to scale it up. Do you deserve 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes a day for yourself, for your peace of mind? Yes, you do. You deserve that. Don't cut corners. Don't steal from yourself by making poor decisions that then you may not even realize that you're missing. Because if somebody is operating at, at a certain level, they've never experienced being here, they won't know the difference, the gap that they're missing. Give yourself the chance to work to get to this point, and I promise you it'll be worth it. But oftentimes, what happens is we just give up too quickly. So by day 7 versus day 1, you're going to have some personal evidence whether the protocol worked or not. Keep a journal as well. Maybe keep track of how you were wrestling day 1, what were some of the improvements, what's happening by the time you get to day 7. And so after day 7, that recalibration window, you've had your 7-day intervention, a baseline should have shifted. You can now choose to maintain that new baseline and build towards a new baseline, a little bit, a step up by going another 7 days, running the protocol again. And before you start to get too chaotic and you give up again. Either way, you can stop guessing at whether meditation works for you. You can start gaining your own data, be your own scientist, start running your own experiments in the field of your own mind. Another thing that I think is very useful is to consider the following. Once you do the practice, you're going to feel a certain way. I want you to monitor and journal and keep track of what are the things that are throwing you off. That when I'm feeling calm and centered, all of a sudden this thing and this thing happened. I reacted this way. Catch yourself so that you can see that you are the contributing agent to your state of being, whether well-being or feeling off. And meditation is one of those tools that can bring you back to that state of well-being when you've thrown yourself off. So don't give up so quickly. Run that experiment and test it for yourself. So remember, meditation doesn't have to be necessarily a lifestyle. I want you to treat it like an intervention initially. It's going to rewire your brain, not in years and days. And if you keep stacking the gains over days, you're going to see improvement. If you need help, want to learn the ins and outs of how to dominate this AI-powered digital age, join ZenBrain Academy. Nothing like it in the world, I promise you. We also have a free newsletter. It's in the description. We put out an article, at least one article every week on Mondays. Sometimes I put out a special edition that may relate to some content that I put out on video. Remember, meditation isn't a vow, it's a measurement. And if you need help, you want to join my coaching sessions, my office hours, we're just launching this. We're going to be launching a founders program that will have a lot of benefits, including our AI coaching app that will be unlike anything that's ever been done before. You want to join ZenBrain Academy to get access to this app, the beta access for free. All founder members are going to have this. So there's going to be more information coming on that. Hope you have a beautiful day. I'll see you next week. Take care and stay zen.